Hi, shalom friends. Do you know where Lubang Island is? If you did, I would be incredibly impressed with your knowledge of the globe. But even if you guessed somewhere near the Philippines, I will still be filled with admiration because that's where it is. So I want to tell you a story about a Japanese warrior who made Lubang Island very famous. We go back to the terrible war years of World War II, and Japan was fighting, and there was an officer called Hiro Unada, and he was given a platoon of men and told to go to Lubang Island and to destroy the port facilities, and they might have had a small airfield to destroy that as well. He was told very, very clearly, you will fight to the last man. If God forbid, they didn't say the word God forbid, but if you cannot fight, then it is forbidden for you to commit suicide. And if you have to escape to the forest, you will live on coconuts. And they all swore their oath to the emperor, and off they went. They were not successful. And in February, American Philippine forces came to the island and actually used the port and the airfield, and most of his men were either captured or killed. 4 of them ran to the forest. Now, the war between us and Japan in World War II ended in August. But Hiro had no idea of this, and he kept on fighting. But over here, of course, he's fighting with 4 men against an enemy that's not his enemy anymore. He comes across a leaflet that says, the war has ended, come out. And he brings it back to his 3 companions, and they say, well, if the war has ended, let's surrender to the Philippines. And he says, you're falling for the enemy. This is a trap. They want us. This is not real. 4 years pass. They're living in a forest, literally, with rats, mosquitoes, living with the shelter of leaves and eating coconuts and bananas. During the 4 years, one of the 3 says, this is crazy. And he goes to one of the inhabited areas, and he surrenders to the Philippine police. And they say, you don't have to surrender because the war is over. And they flew him to Japan. When they flew him to Japan, he told the authorities that there are 3 crazies that still think that the war is going and that they should do something about it. So what happened was, the government didn't really pay much attention to it, but he managed to get in contact with the families. What they did was they gathered photographs of the families. They wrote letters asking their beloved brother and father and husband, come home. There is no more war. And they dropped it over the island in more than one place. And sure enough, here, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but Hiro Onada found it. And he came back and he said to the remaining 2, you see, take a look how they're really trying to get us out. And they kept on fighting. Well, how did they eat? Every once in a while they would make a raid and steal a cow or steal. And what happened during these raids, 2 of his companions were shot. Now there's only 1 person left. Hiro refuses to accept that the war is over. You know why? because his commander told him, you will fight to the last person, and it is forbidden for you to commit harikari. You must continue fighting. Well, there was a Japanese student who heard about the story. His name was Noriya Sudako or something like that, and he decided to track him down. He comes to the island and hangs out near the last reputed sighting, and he meets this older Japanese fellow, and he says, the war is over. And Hiro says, unless I hear it from my commander, I will not accept it from anyone. By this time, the government was intrigued. What they did was they tracked down his commander. They flew him, and they flew him near to Lubang Island. He was taken to the last place, and sure enough, Hiro comes out and meets his commander, who commands him to surrender because the war was over. You know what day that was? March 9th, 1974. He was flown to Japan, where he was acclaimed as, a hero and this and that, though he himself was very disillusioned with the new Japan, couldn't believe that the soldiers actually surrendered. Now, why do I tell you this story? Because every one of us cannot but be impressed. We might think he's crazy, but that's certainly so impressive. He was given a command by his commander, who told him, you will fight, and you will not die. You will die fighting. And in spite of all of the evidence to the contrary, there's no bombs, there's no war. When he would make a raid, he would see civilization, not a sign, a smell, a fragrance of war. No, I am fighting. My friends, for over 1900 years, Jewish people, when it comes the week of Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, they minimize enjoy. They don't bathe, they don't drink wine, they don't get married. And then on this one day of the year, we fast. We do not eat, we do not drink, we do not bathe, we do not put on fragrance, we sit on the floor, we even shed tears. About what? About a holy temple that existed almost 2,000 years ago. Oh, 1 second. Haven't we been told over these generations and decades and more, Judea has fallen, the temple has been destroyed. Why are you living with an illusion? It will never happen. And the land of Israel, it's been conquered by every nation. And it's been conquered under Christianity, under Islam, under the Turkish Ottoman Empire, under the British. No Jews. 1900 years. But why don't we give up? Because our commander-in-chief told us that the temple is eternal, the Jewish people are eternal, the Torah is eternal, and one day we will see this all coming together. So in spite of the evidence, there is no temple. There is a temple, it's in heaven. In spite of the evidence, you'll never go back to Israel. We will. Jerusalem will be rebuilt. Israel will be repopulated. The Mashiach will come. We will have a Jewish king. And the third temple will emerge. I believe that the story which is in all of the books about the heroism and the courage and the commitment of this soldier is a reminder to each and every one of us. If you could hear something like that from a human being, and carry on 20 years living in the worst possible condition, and yet I am a loyal soldier. Infinitely more so is the loyalty that the Jewish people have shown and continue to display to their commander-in-chief. Well, we're waiting for our commander-in-chief to come, the Almighty God himself, to say, enough, enough. You've proven your valor, your courage, your dedication, your commitment, your belief, your affirmation. Enough! It's time to go home. The war against evil has been won. The Jewish people are victorious. Let us go together, the Almighty taking each and every one of us by the hand, literally, bringing us back to the Holy Land, where we will be reunited with Mishpacha, with our family, and the temple will be rebuilt. The Jewish king, the Mashiach, will be reigning in Jerusalem, and the world will be brought to a perfection. Amen.